Hi everyone, Chris here from IELTS Advantage with yet another success story. Today we have Navneet, who is going to share her IELTS journey with you guys and share how she was able to get the score that she needed. So Navneet, can we start off just by you introducing yourself to everyone?
Hi, my name is Navneet Kaur, and I'm basically from India, but currently I'm living in Australia. And I needed to give my IELTS general training exam and get at least 7 each in every module. So I was just,
Excellent. And can you
yeah.
share a little bit of your IELTS journey? So like how many times did you do the test? What scores were you getting? And what was your final score at the end of it?
Yeah, so I started preparing for IELTS in February of this year,
Mm-hmm.
early this year. So I've given like three exams before this one, in which I got my final score. So every time I was facing problem in writing module most
Mm-hmm.
of the time, and I was stuck on like 6.5, 6.5 every time. So then finally, after joining your course, then finally I got my 7
Excellent.
in the writing module.
It's quite
Yeah,
frustrating when you keep getting
yeah,
6.5 and you're so
yeah,
close but so far.
yeah.
So when we looked at your writing, what were the key things or your key weaknesses or the main reasons why you were getting 6 or 6.5?
So the main thing that I found out after joining your course is that it was the structure, the
Mm-hmm.
way we write the things.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was getting my scores in like good scores, like 9 in reading, 8 in listening, and 7 in speaking.
Mm-hmm.
So they were good scores. I was good in those modules. So there was no point that my English is not that good.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, the thing is how to write the things.
Exactly.
What is the way of representation?
Mm-hmm.
So that was the main problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I joined one more coaching center before that. They were in Melbourne, here in Australia. And they were also like, I didn't like the point, like you have to focus on brainstorming, your ideas should be fancy,
Mm-hmm.
and like your ideas are not good enough. They told me these things,
Yeah.
these kind of, their main focus was like brainstorming. They used
Was
to do
that
these
like an
kind of,
expensive school in Melbourne, was it?
yes,
Yeah.
yes, it was very expensive. So after that, I didn't try to go for any kind of coaching, because obviously uh, it's like too much burden on
Mm-hmm.
my finances, and I didn't want to go for that. I decided to practice by myself.
Especially
But
when they're telling you the exact opposite of what works,
yes,
charging you a
I
lot of
didn't
money
want
for it.
yeah,
I think I
yeah,
hear a lot of people from places like India and Pakistan and even places all over Asia and South America, and they go to big English speaking cities like London, Toronto, Sydney, Melbourne, and they assume that, okay, this is an English school in a big English speaking city,
yeah,
they're going to be really good. And what I would warn people is some of them are excellent, and some
yeah,
of them
definitely
aren't.
not.
And
And the
they're
school
extremely
which
expensive as well, like
uh,
thousands of dollars
yeah,
for a course. So just
yeah,
be very careful. Just because someone is a native English speaker or they are in a big English speaking city doesn't mean that they are actually going to be able to help you. Judge each
yeah.
one individually.
And I checked their rating. Actually, when I searched the English school in Melbourne, they were the first one to come up with a very good rating on Google. So everything was opposite.
Mm-hmm,
Like
mm-hmm,
they were all, because there's not any school or any business which don't have negative reviews.
mm-hmm,
They had all positives.
mm-hmm.
So
Suspicious.
something was fishy.
But I think in defense, and I'm not going to say I don't know the name of
Yeah,
that school, and don't bother naming it. But
yeah,
just to help people watching this video, um, if you join a good school with a very good reputation, it really doesn't matter if the school has a good reputation if they give you a bad teacher. So
yeah,
I used to teach in schools like that, and really it's difficult to find good IELTS teachers, and some of the teachers will be excellent, and they've been teaching IELTS for 10, 20 years, and I have seen this where they will put teachers into an IELTS classroom that have never taught IELTS before. And what they do before they go into the classroom is they will Google, okay, how to generate ideas, and it will say on Google brainstorming. And then they'll go
Yeah,
into the classroom and say, okay, go on brainstorm, and it doesn't help at all, or
yeah,
how to what ideas should we use, and they'll go onto YouTube and find a teacher saying use lots of fancy ideas, and then they'll go and teach that to
yes,
the students. So you know uh, make sure that the teacher, who, even if it is in a good school with a good reputation, even if it is the British Council, or some really
yeah,
good school with a good reputation, ask the people who you're paying the money to, what kind of experience does the teacher have teaching IELTS, and because it's your money and it's a lot of money,
yes, of course. Yeah.
so that's good advice from you. People can learn from your mistakes, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
when we looked at your writing, what do you think? What did we identify were the main things? So we talked about structure and things like that. What did you change?
Yeah, that's the, like, when I joined the course, I already had my exam booked.
Mm-hmm.
So when I when I went through the whole course, you mentioned that don't appear for exam before doing everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I was not sure that I will get my scores this time. So
Mm-hmm.
I thought I will complete the course. I will do all the things, all the exercises, and I will go for exam. Otherwise, I will book another exam.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I only followed the structure, like the way, the representation of ideas, like not going for fancy ideas, rather focusing on the main whatever was there. So good. And I just uh, I wrote my essay with those whatever I learned from the. I actually completed my course in 4 or 5 days. I
Oh,
was like,
wow. How
I'm,
many hours
I
did
was
you study
sitting
per day?
like 6 to 7 hours.
Wow, that's
So
well
I
done for
completed.
focusing for that long.
Yeah, at least I completed writing task 2. Then I just went through the main parts of the task 1.
Mm-hmm.
So it helped.
Mm-hmm.
So so now I'm confident that if I will sit for another exam and I will go through all the whole course, and if I'll practice more, I can improve my scores more.
Mm-hmm.
So this was the thing that I was looking for. This is what I needed. So because I wrote everything as simple as I was writing before in my earlier exams. Only one change and I got my scores.
Excellent.
So
Excellent.
yeah,
And,
that was
and
the thing.
for someone like you who's getting a band 9, band 8 in listening and reading, and a band 7 in speaking, you know, there's nothing wrong with your English. You just need a little bit of help with your writing. But if you go somewhere where the teacher is telling you, brainstorm, think of really impressive ideas, try and impress the examiner, use fancy vocabulary, it can lead to disaster, because you're taking someone who
Yes.
is very good at English and getting them to do things that will lower your
Yeah.
writing level.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that, about brainstorming and trying to think of fancy ideas. How did you feel whenever you were trying to do that? Was it helpful, or obviously not effective, but
Not at all. It was so frustrating because obviously when we will practice in class, we will
mm,
discuss with different people, and yeah, we can think of ideas about that particular topic.
mm,
But when in exam, we will get completely different topic. What
mm-hmm,
we gonna do there?
mm,
Because you cannot change the way of thinking of people.
mm-hmm,
You cannot teach them how to think. So
mm-hmm,
that is just a natural. That is everyone's way of thinking is different. There were used to be students who are not so good in English, but their ideas are like fantastic.
mm-hmm,
I used to think, why can't I think like them?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the frustration I faced. So when you sit in exam, you can't think of those things.
Mm-hmm.
You will waste your a lot of time on thinking that I need to write fancy ideas, these kind of things. This is not gonna help me if I'll write something simple. So these kind of things, uh, they should not change the way of thinking,
Mm-hmm.
rather working on whatever they have.
And there's probably people watching the video now thinking, I have the same problem. Brainstorming does not work. I can't think of these fancy ideas. What would you recommend doing instead?
Whatever you have, just make a good use of that.
Mm-hmm.
That's the basic principle. Like whatever I have learned in your course, that is like focusing on those things.
Mm-hmm.
Just whatever you think, whatever, even a simple idea and how to write those ideas, that's the main thing.
So use, in other words, whatever your own experience is, your own knowledge, use
Yeah,
that and instead of trying to think of fancy things
yeah,
that you don't have
mm,
knowledge of. Yeah. And I'd say there are many, many different idea generation techniques. But one extremely simple but extremely effective one is when you look at the question, what is the first idea that comes into your head? What is the most simple, straightforward, obvious idea that if you asked
mm,
100 people, 90 of them would say that, because
yeah,
that idea is easy to generate. It's probably definitely going to be relevant to the question. And most importantly, it's easy for you to develop into a paragraph by
yeah,
explaining it. Because it doesn't matter if you have a fancy, impressive idea, if you can't use that in a paragraph by
yeah,
explaining it, by using an example, then it is going to be useless. And really, it's just about not making things more complicated, just making them easier,
yeah,
making
just
them
simple
simpler.
and easy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I tried so many things in my first test. I tried to keep it simple because I learned some things from IELTS website. They have mentioned don't use like typical words that the people cram for
Mm-hmm.
writing essays. So I avoided everything. I kept it simple and I got 6.5. In my next test, then I thought maybe I haven't used those fancy words. That's why I'm not getting my score. So in my second test, I have added all the fancy words and whatever, like
And you got a 6.
those words. I got 6.
Yeah,
Then
yeah.
I was more frustrated. What's happening?
But I think
So
vocabulary is important, but it's only
yeah,
25% of your total score. And
yeah,
if you go into the test thinking, okay, what will determine my test will be how fancy my words are, you're ignoring the other 75%. And I think that's
yeah,
why it's important to join a course or a school that gives you feedback on everything and shows
yeah,
you, okay, these are your key grammar mistakes. These are your areas of weakness for vocabulary, coherence and cohesion, task achievement, task response, and try and get everything up to that level.
yeah.
That if you need a 7, get everything up to that level. And you won't know that until someone looks at your writing and gives you feedback on that. Did you find the feedback
Yeah.
useful? Did you use video feedback or
Yes,
written
and
feedback?
video feedback. I,
Yeah.
I just sent one essay,
Mm-hmm.
so I got feedback from Jason, I guess.
He's good. Yeah, he's
And
good.
and this is the main thing that I felt so good about your team and you about your course. We always get like within few seconds we get our response. Like you guys
Mm-hmm.
are too good at reaching out to the students.
Yeah.
So
We try our best.
in
We're not. We can't
yeah,
answer in
and that's
seconds
very
every
good.
time, but we try and do it within a few
No,
hours. So,
yeah, yeah, that's what I meant. But the thing is that's the reaching out to the students. That's the best thing that I found out. That
yeah.
was the best experience, uh, as comparative to others, which they are only connected to students when they need the fees or anything else. But after that, they don't reply at all. But this was the best thing. that
Yeah,
I felt
it's
during the
the
course.
support is really, really important,
Yeah,
because people
really
are
good.
doing something that they have no idea about.
Yeah,
So they'll have questions. I don't think that it's a good idea to ask questions for every single little thing,
yeah.
because there's a lot of the time the
Because
students
everything's
need
there. Yeah,
yeah. So,
everything's there. It's so good, but
but
when you need help, like, yeah,
exactly. So our philosophy
other,
is, help yourself, but if you can't
yeah.
help yourself, we're here for you to help you with the things that you need help with. Because we have some students who email us and say, what does this word mean? It's like, well, there's, there's a dictionary for that, you
Not
know,
that kind of, yeah.
but then there's other stuff that you know, obviously you do need help with. And I think that's the difference between, like, if you get a IELTS textbook, the textbook can't answer your
Yeah,
question,
yeah,
or you
can't
go to a
answer.
class where you're in another classroom with, you know, 15, 30 other students. you the teacher doesn't have time to look at you individually
Yeah.
and give you that individual attention. So I think that's one of the reasons why we do it. It's very time consuming for us, but we're happy to do it because it gets results. You know, it
Yeah,
does
that's the
things. So if you were to give advice to yourself sort of 6 months ago, or your cousin or your sister or someone like that was doing IELTS, what advice would you give them?
um I would say that you should take help. Don't think that I will manage by my own,
Hmm.
but go for a good school as well.
Hmm.
No, don't just look like I can join this one and this one. Take a demo classes. If you don't like first thing, then just ignore them and choose a better schooling. And definitely take help if you are keep on getting like you're stuck on 6.5, 6.5. It means you definitely need help, and don't waste your time like
Hmm.
by filling test every week. That's
Yeah.
not gonna help.
Yeah, and
You
very
need
expensive
guidance.
as well.
Yeah,
If you keep doing the test over and over, you're not going to
yeah,
get lucky. So
yeah.
excellent,
So
excellent. Thank you so much, Navneet. I really appreciate your time, and best of luck when you're applying for your visa and moving to your new country. And
yeah,
I hope
thank you
you
so
can get
much.
there quickly enough with all the current situation in
Yeah.
the world. I hope it isn't delayed too much. But
Yeah,
now you've got the IELTS score that you need. You know, you've got a lot
yeah,
more options. So that's one less
yeah,
thing to worry about.
yeah.
Thank you,
At
Navneet.
least.
Thanks
Yeah,
again.
thank you so much. Thank you
Oh,
to whole team for
thank you.
helping me out.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
so much.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Hey, Chris here again. Hopefully you enjoyed that success story video. That student was part of our IELTS VIP course. And on that course, we show students exactly where they're going wrong and exactly what to do to get the score that they need. And we give them all the help and support that they need in order to get a 7, 8, or even 9 in their IELTS test. Now, we only work with a really small number of students. Because of the level of help and feedback and support that we give students, we can only work with a very small number of them. But we also have more success stories than any other online or offline course in the world, which has created a huge amount of demand for our course. So we're the only course in the world, I believe, that has a very long waiting list. If you want to join that waiting list, all you have to do is just click here and you'll be able to add your name, add your email address, and then when one of our students becomes successful and leaves the course, the next position can be for you. Hopefully see you in there. Bye-bye.